Thank you for joining me for an introduction and presentation of the University of the Cumberlands Ad Astra Facilities Event and Calendar Management System, and specifically how University of the Cumberlands uses Astra Calendar. This platform allowed UC to combine events, academics, facilities, and resources into one central calendar to optimize room usage with enhanced analytics, as I'm sure it has for most of your organizations. This is me. By way of introduction, I'm Dr. Jamirae Holbrook, Executive Director of Extended Services here at University of the Cumberlands. I manage career services, community service, our UC Engage program, as well as our facility management platform at Astra. I served at Union College in Barberville, Kentucky for 8 years before coming to University of the Cumberlands, and I am entering my 8th year here at UC. So with over 16 years of experience in higher education, I have been asked to share with you UC's implementation of UC at Astra Calendar. Today's presentation goals include a brief introduction to the University of the Cumberlands, an introduction to UC's Astra journey, why UC purchased at Astra, how Astra Schedule met our calendar needs, and a demo calendar configuration. So we're going to actually go into our platform and I'll show you how we're using the Astra calendar. And then we're going to highlight some benefits that UC has gained from using Astra calendars. So here's a brief introduction about who the University of the Cumberlands is. Located in the heart of Appalachia, University of the Cumberlands is an institution of regional distinction that offers undergraduate degrees in more than 40 major fields of study, along with several pre-professional graduate and doctoral programs. Our main campus is in Williamsburg, Kentucky, in one of the most southeast parts of the state. We are actually off the last Kentucky exit on I-75 going south. We have a secondary campus in Northern Kentucky and core site locations in DC, Dallas, and Seattle. Our mascot is the Patriot, and if you'd like to check out more about our school and learn about more who we are, visit our website at www.ucumberlands.edu. University of the Cumberlands is the largest private school in the state of Kentucky with over 18,000 students enrolled. This number includes all of our campuses and programs. Overall, we're the third largest university in Kentucky. Our main campus, we provide a home to approximately 2,000 traditional graduate students. We're intentionally small as far as our traditional campus. So I'd like to share a little bit about UC's Ad Astra journey. It began when I was given the green light in December of 2018 to begin our implementation process. The problem with the green light that I was given is that a month or so after, it happened a month or so after the implementation project for our new ERP system. In the new ERP system, it wasn't just any old run-of-the-mill ERP project either, if there is such a thing. UC was the test pilot for the very first cloud-based ERP system for Banner, and they had never implemented a cloud-based ERP previously. Needless to say, pioneers of any sort can never quite prepare for the twists and turns their journey will take. So in January 2019, it was realized that we can't move forward with our Ad Astra project until our ERP project was much farther along. UC's snail pace to go live was 100% timing of many things, but it was absolutely no reflection of the customer service and project management provided to us by our Ad Astra team. Our quality of care and service with Ad Astra was first class. So you can see in our UC timeline, we began November 2018 and we did the go live with our Astra academic scheduling on March 2020, and then our Astra facility and event scheduling go live. The whole platform went live July 2020 to our entire campus staff and faculty. So between those two dates, we had a lot of time to think about what we wanted our system to look like and how that we were going to use it and structure it. Here are some of our UC at Astra project goals. We wanted to create a central calendar for all of campus events and academics. Every campus, every building, sometimes different clusters of rooms in one building were keeping their own calendars. All class scheduling was being created through paper grids, sometimes larger grids taped on the walls and tables and moved around with post-it notes and other creative measures until it was entered directly into the ERP. And I am quite sure that we're not the only academic institution to have been using such archaic means of knowing what rooms are taken, when they're taken, and moving them around in a manual way. Once the scheduling information was entered into our database, it could then be viewed in a calendar form, but only classes. And we really needed a place to see academics and event scheduling in one snapshot. Then our next goal is if academic was with academic affairs, ease of scheduling. If academic affairs needed to move a class for any reason, there was not a room list schedule or easily viewable calendar for them to see availability, and definitely not for them to not just see their academic scheduling, but to also see event scheduling to see what might have already been put into that space. So we needed a way to communicate information both internally and externally. We needed to publish a public-facing master calendar. There was no master calendar where all UC events were being viewed by public, the students, faculty, or staff. Campus safety also did not have a way to know what and where everything was happening on campus. So we needed a way to put all of our public-facing events in one space for people who needed to know internally, but also had to help promote to people publicly and externally, and then a way to filter by event types. So that way, for instance, if someone was looking for maybe our fine arts events that were happening on campus, they could just simply filter by fine arts events. Or if you were just a student who wanted to see what student activities were going on that week, you could just simply filter by student activities. Another project goal was to remove siloed scheduling practices in academic and administrative departments. Again, and I know that this is not unique to our institution, but at the time, every campus, every building, sometimes different clusters of room in one building were keeping their own calendars. We needed consistency. We needed a united calendar and scheduling system that was uniform and across the board for everyone. We needed to share information tools and processes across the university. Sharing information is a big concept in any business that wants to be successful, and one of the goals of our president is for transparency. Then the last goal was to enhance efficiency and fairness in scheduling facilities and academics across campus. Calendars and facility use needed transparency and standard best practices. Efficiency and communication were absolute goals for us in this project. The fruition of our Ad Astra project was certainly a team effort across many departments, academics, IT, operations, communications, and so on. By our go live, Astra Calendar had empowered UC to achieve all the aforementioned goals we had set. Ad Astra has allowed us to make our room reservation system more efficient. Instead of calling around to each building or department to find out the correct person to speak to, and then who they have to speak to see if a room is available and to see if an event can be held there. Now you only have to visit one spot, and that is our Ad Astra homepage. So now we're going to talk a little bit about how Ad Astra met our UC calendar needs. All faculty and staff currently have access to Ad Astra through a single sign-on portal UC1 login. On our Astra homepage, there are several forms internal users have access to complete. The process to request an event to be published on UC's master calendar begins with filling out either the internal event request form or the off-campus non-facility request form. As a requester moves through the form, they are asked if they would like their event to be featured on the master calendar, and you can see that space here. It's right under the event description. So one of the first questions that is asked is, do you want this to be featured? It is on the form that the requester will also have to provide the event type and event description I will show you on our final product here in just a minute what that looks like or what that translates into. But please note that the Astra Master Calendar functionality is not as functional or aesthetically pleasing as we had hoped. There was some issues with configuring their setup with our website setup, and so it's not everything that we wanted, but it definitely is a functional service to our campus community. It's our hope that for the future that Ad Astra will increase the development and aesthetic capabilities for schools of their master calendar functionality, but for the most part, it definitely met our needs. So if an event or facility requester marks yes, then when the form is submitted and the approver approves that event and it goes into the event details, they can make sure to mark featured. Now again, this is the form approver and the facility approver. They have to, if they see it on the form that they were requesting it's marked featured, then they actually manually have to go in and mark it as featured. And then you'll also see that when they choose event type on the form, that is automatically filled into this space, and the event description is automatically filled into this space. If you see down here, you can also see where you can add a more elaborate calendar description, and you can also add an image. When an event has been approved at both the form and facility level, events with featured marked will appear on the public facing calendar. So it's immediate. Once an event is approved and then you go into event details and it's marked featured and you hit save, it immediately appears on our master calendar. So there is no wait time. So other ways UC uses Astra Calendar. When we began this process, like I said, we had a lot of time to think about how we wanted this to work. We pulled the handful of people out from the different buildings, campuses, and facilities who were currently calendar keepers, and we labeled those facility coordinators, and we gave them a role in this process and a calendar view, and as well as our resource coordinators being your communications office who are going to do sound and AV, catering services on campus, maintenance, operations and setup on campus, housekeeping on campus. All of those roles on our campus are given access to our all campus events administrative view, and it allows them to go into a calendar and see all the scheduling specifically for their building or their area that they're interested in. We also have different one-offs from the calendar. For instance, for our UC swimming pool, they have their own scheduling grid and their own calendar that our swim coach, he actually manages the entire facility that he has access to. Then we also have our athletic department uses their own calendar and scheduling grid to manage their weight rooms. So coaches actually have a form on our homepage where they can go in and request a specific weight room, or go in to our homepage and look at the athletics weight room scheduling grid and see what room is available at what time, and actually use a request form to schedule that, and that goes straight to our athletic department. And then most recently, our physician's assistant program, they have 3 rooms that they use for their study skills labs, and each student or each cohort of study groups have to have so many hours within those study lab facilities, and they were manually scheduling this with calendars, trying to get everyone all the time that they needed in the study skills labs. And so we set them up just like we did our coaching staff with their 8 rooms, that there's those 3 rooms that they use for those study skills labs. They can actually see a scheduling grid for those particular rooms, all the faculty in that department, and the administration in that department. And then they have their own form now on their homepage where the physician's assistant faculty can go in and request a certain room at a certain time for their study group, and then the administrator in that department approves that. So that has really helped them streamline that process as well. But if I could say anything, one of the smarter things that we did is to make the pre-Astra calendar keepers, those people who were keeping the silos and maintaining the space, but they were also being the calendar managers and actually scheduling the space, giving them permission to see all the things going on in their section or their department, it really does relieve some of their anxiety. So that was one of the better things that we did in our calendar system. So now let's take a look and actually go in to see what this calendar looks like that our facilities coordinators have access to. And I'll show you some examples. So bear with me as I switch screens. So we're going to start with our UC homepage, and you'll see here we have external forms for community facility requests. Then you also have the UC indoor pool request form that our external community can click into, but they can't see our homepage. They have a separate page where those are linked out. Then we have our internal forms. We have the internal facility request form, our meeting space request form, which is just a simpler version of that form. Computer lab request form, again, a more simplified version of the internal facility request form. And some of the more specialized, not for general use. This says, hey, if you're not designated in the PA cohort on at Astra, or you're not designated in the athletic cohort, you're not going to be able to click into these. So we have the PA facility form and the weight room request form. One of the things that I had talked about earlier was the off-campus non-facility request form. This is so if you're having an event virtually or off campus and you would still like that to be featured on our master calendar, it gives you a form that you can fill out so that we can mark that featured and also get that out there. This has particularly been of interest to our professional development folks for our faculty members. So we're going to go up here to our calendars, and if you click on calendar, and then our internal facility coordinators, these are again the calendar keepers from pre-Astra, they can go to all campus events administrators. And when they go to that tab, they have the calendar search function. So not only can they see like all the events going on that are under their role, their assigned role in Ad Astra, but they can, for instance, go into main and then go into a building. So going to go into our science building. And then I'm going to hit search. Now, when I do that, I notice that I don't see maybe all of the information that I'm looking for. So I always ask when people say, well, I can't see what classes are in there. You have to go down to the academic filters, but also our facility coordinators, they do have the function to go in and actually see what classes are in that space. But we also just have an all campus events that is a general overview of what's happening on campus. And obviously, my view, I can see more than the regular person would be able to who logged in because I'm the Astra administrator here at our university. But if you didn't have permission to see all these things, it would just be showing busy. And if you notice, if you go to all campus events, you also cannot filter by building or whatever, but our facility coordinators and our resource coordinators, they do have the filter function. Then, as I mentioned before, the scheduling grids that we created for our PA program, and I'm going to use them as the example. So that way these are their rooms that they want to view, that they want their faculty to be able to view, and to be able to see when those classrooms are busy and academics are included. So that's how we set that up. And we gave them the role of a PA faculty, and that is how those are rolled out. Okay, and so the next overview that I wanted to do, this is our UC events calendar. This is our master calendar. And again, when I hover over things, I can see more than your average person because I am the administrator. But if you notice, there is a choose calendar. And of course, I have lots more calendar options than your average person would who just logged in, because I am the administrator, but I can filter by anything that I want to. I can do just holidays and announcements. I can do, just let me find student activities, student activity events. So there is filter functionality. It's enough for us. If you hover over, like you can see all the event details that we listed for Career and Opportunities Fair. They can scroll down and see all that. That's actually an in-person Career and Opportunities Fair. And then, just a second, I was going to show you an example of a virtual fair. Oops. I can click right into things because I have the capabilities, but let's see here. For instance, this is one of our virtual events, UC's virtual JCPenney Suit Up event, and you'll see that you can actually hyperlink things so that they can register for the event if they wish to attend. It says that it's an online shopping event, and it says right up front in the event description that it is a virtual Suit Up event. So that is how we are using Astra calendars. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here just for a moment and then reshare, and we'll switch back to my presentation. So we have now demoed how UC uses the calendar configuration. We have checked out the master calendar functionality here at University of the Cumberlands. And so let's talk about some of the benefits of using Astra calendars. Efficiency, number one, our faculty and staff can check room availability easily and then request any available space on campus with one form, as opposed to the multiple level process that had been the case, where you may have to call academic, so previously you would have to call academic affairs, then the building manager, then maybe the region manager. And so with Astra Calendar, it took all that out of the mix because faculty and staff can easily go to the calendar view inside of Astra and see what rooms are available for reservation and what rooms are not available for reservation, and then what times, if they want, well, does it matter to them what time or what days and times are available if they particularly want that space, without having to go through 3 different groups of people to get that information. That information's up front. So it is also efficient that you can have your event featured on the master calendar and can be filtered by event type immediately after the initial approval. This goes for virtual or actual events. And again, one of the biggest cheerleaders was the faculty development aspect of our university, because they could post virtual events in one calendar where faculty could easily filter by faculty development. Then there's transparency. Everyone is being treated equally with consideration to event approval and event requests. Astra Calendar gives visibility to the schedule that makes it very evident which rooms are available when, to whom, and then with the calendar functionality, it can give you suggestions. If you really are got your heart set on this space, then here are the other dates and times that you could have that space. Astra Calendar helps our communication internally, but also helps our communication externally with the master calendar component. And then Astra Calendar also eliminates the element of human error. All details are captured in one easy to view space and communicating with the entire academic calendar. So there's no double booking. There's no showing up to a space that you scheduled for an event and there being a class in there at that time. So it definitely takes away the human error aspect of trying to keep all the details together and correct. So overall, Ad Astra has been an incredible addition to our campus, and our campus is still growing, and we just literally launched in July, but it has been such an easy process to teach faculty and staff how to go to that calendar view and how to see what's available and what's not available, and then those forms to make it so efficient to get their events published on the master calendar. So with that said, thank you so much for your time. And I hope that something that I said in our information session today helped you or gave you an idea or sparked some curiosity for how you can better use Astra Calendar. Once our PA department started using Astra Calendar, now I have other departments who want to know what they need to do to help get set up in their own calendar cohort so that they can manage their study rooms and their technology to the ease of the administrators and for the faculty to be easily told, okay, so here's the times and this is available, and they can see it laid out in a very organized format. So if you have questions or comments related to this session, visit the community topic Aspire 2020 sessions, locate the post for the session, and add your thoughts in the comments section. And again, I wanted to provide my personal contact information should you wish to reach out to me directly. Thank you for your time and attention. May you each have a safe and successful rest of the semester. Thank you so much.